Hey guys,
We're from Testimony of Apocalypse.
And you're watching Covenant Metal TV. Death!
Hey guys, welcome to Covenant Metal TV, our very first interview on Covenant Metal TV. I am sitting here with my brother's Testimony of Apocalypse. Guys, thanks so much for being here. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
thanks for having us.
Having us very much.
Absolutely. So why don't we go around the table and tell us your names and what you guys do in the band.
I'm Paul Graham, and I'm the drummer.
And he's right on time.
Right on time.
He's right on time.
I'm Nick Pacitti. I play guitar and bass and a little bit of keys here and there.
Hi, I'm Mike Tyrone. I'm known to the world as Mike Tyrone. I actually go by Michael Tyrone, but I'm fine with the Mike part. And I'm the singer of Testimony of Apocalypse, and we're happy to be on the show.
Awesome. Glad to have you here. So, excuse me. Like I was saying a little bit ago before we started here, Testimony of Apocalypse obviously is the title of the very first Sacrament album that came out back in 1990. And I take it that you guys used the album title as the name of the band.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Awesome.
We had it's a long story, but we had an idea for another name, and we ended up going with Testimony of Apocalypse. And honestly, as soon as we did that, it just felt right, and there was so many reasons why we're happy that we came up with that name. And we also like the fact that we can shorten it and just call ourselves TOA, which we love.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We love that.
So there has been almost a 30-year gap between the second album, Haunts of Violence, and you guys coming together now as Testimony of Apocalypse. So tell me, what have you guys been up to over the last almost 30 years?
Make Paul, you start with that.
You want me to start? Okay, I'll start. Well, I guess after Sacrament ended in '92, it was just kind of like, Lord, what am I doing next? Like, what else am I doing? I really enjoyed working with the youth, which is primarily who Sacrament was reaching. And just kind of, it was just like, well, Lord, what am I doing now? And ended up starting to teach Sunday school, senior high Sunday school. And I taught that for 14 years.
Wow.
At my church. And during that time, I guess it was around 1999, I guess. So, in rock band at our church and playing music to the Lord. And one of the people who was in that band is in this band, Nick. Nick joined, I think Nick was what, 14, Nick?
14, yep.
Nick was 14 when he joined the band, and
wow.
we ended up playing actually for 14 years.
Yep.
14 years. What we were doing was as the teenagers graduated and some went away to college and, graduated from the band, we brought in younger like the kids who were in like 9th grade, 10th grade. They were coming into the band as the other people were going out. And I guess, I think when I counted it last, Nick, I think it was 35 members.
Nuts.
We had 35 members in 14 years. We did 3 CDs, and I guess we stopped in about 2013. I think we stopped.
That's more than Megadeth.
There you go. So we play. Was it anything like was it like Sacrament or Testimony of Apocalypse? Absolutely not. It was not. But it wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be more.
Tried a little bit at the end.
There were a couple songs we did that were, you could definitely hear the Sacrament influence. But for the most part, it was more like blues, rock, jazz, funk, like hip hop. We played whatever. It was just we just had a whole mix of styles in there. And and then we hadn't played for a while. And I guess I'll let the other guys talk, because then there's like that period there where before this band started, and I don't know whether we're going to have time to explain exactly what happened with that, but if we get the chance, we will.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go just because kind of off of what Paul was saying. Yeah, I met Paul when I was 14, and I don't even think I knew what Christian metal was at the time, but Paul kind of, I guess you showed me all different types of Christian music, but then I was like, wait, there's Christian metal? And I didn't, because I was already into like, you know, all the regular metal bands that were out in the 90s, 80s, 90s, thrash bands and things like that. So I was surprised, you know, Living Sacrifice, Extolled, and of course Sacrament. And from there we didn't want to be like your typical praise band, you know, I guess I would say. So we always had a little bit of an edge, whether it was on the funk side or like the rock side, or I would say we had like maybe one or two songs that would be heavy metal or metal-ish, we would say. And then, you know, after that, I think we ended, everyone started having kids and getting married, that, you know, as far as like that were, other than Paul, because Paul was already married, but, and kind of life just became busy for a while.
Yeah. Go ahead if you want. You said there was something right before this band, and that just kind of dissipated.
Yeah, I like my two nephews. This actually started from my two nephews. My two nephews were 8 and 10. I think they were 8 and 10 when they were fans of Sacrament. They just loved Sacrament. We were the band.
Oh, so does this guy.
Hmm?
I said, so does this guy. I love you guys too, man. Sincerely.
So they were 8 and 10. Now they're like, you know, 42 and 44. And they were like, hey, you know, we hear all these other metal bands coming back with these reunions, like Motley Crue and Rat and Poison and all these bands. How come Sacrament isn't coming back? It's almost 30 years. You guys should be doing a 30-year reunion. And I was like, dude, yeah, man, really? Like, I don't know. And so I said, you know what? What do I got to lose? I'm just going to put it out. Let me just put it out there. So I texted Eric Nye, the bass player, and I said, hey, do you have any interest in doing like a Sacrament album, like a 30-year reunion album type thing? Absolutely. I was like, okay. So I hadn't spoken to Michael for over 30 years.
Yeah, it was a long time.
I had to get in touch with someone, our roadie, one of our roadies, Andre, had Mike's information. And I actually sent something to Mike, and I think he thought it was a joke at first, because I hadn't talked to him in so long. And he was just like, is this for real? Like, get out of town. Like,
I think what happened was,
no, it's like, real.
I was like, is this really Paul texting me? Because every now, I know that sounds funny, but every now and again I would get like some crazy person that would come out of the woodwork and be like, you know, singer from Sacrament, and try and communicate with me, because I have a kind of a low profile on the internet. So I'm saying, is this really Paul? And then my friend Andre, all of our friend Andre, said, yeah, it is Paul. And then we started communicating. And then I'll let Paul take over with the rest.
So we say something, you know, I asked Mike, like, would you be interested in it? Yes, I would absolutely. Okay. The next person I asked was Brian Toy. And I asked him, and he said, to be honest with you, dude, I haven't picked my guitar up in 30 years. I have not been playing my guitar at all. He actually is playing, he was playing keyboard.
Oh, wow.
He said, dude, I haven't played in 30 years. Like, I can't do it.
And Brian was the rhythm guitarist, just so you know. He was mainly the rhythm guitarist.
But by him saying no, that actually opened up the avenue for me to say to Eric, hey, I have a good friend of mine who was, you know, Nick. And he's like, oh, yeah, he was in the band with you at the church. And I said, yeah. I said, he can do this. he can do this style. He has the background to do this style. Can I ask Nick to be part of it? And he was like, yeah. Because up until that point, we had no guitar player for the Sacrament reunion. It was like, we got to have somebody. We hadn't been able to get a hold of Mike DiDonato, who was in Texas. We couldn't get a hold of him. And I was like, look, I think I could add. So I asked Nick, and Nick was like, you playing originals, or are you playing like the same songs, like just playing the old Sacrament songs? And I said, no, we're talking about doing something totally new.
Mm-hmm.
And he thought about it, and he said, yeah, I'm in.
Wow.
Okay, like, wow, like 4 people so far have said, hey, I want to do this. So something's happening here.
There's the Lord's hands on it, man, when it happens like that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then the next person, so then Eric did get a hold of Mike DiDonato, and he said, yeah, I'm in too. Okay, great. So we had a meeting. It was in March. We had a full-blown meeting, all of us there. We all talked about, yeah, we want to do this and all that kind of thing. And so we embarked at that point that we were going to start writing. We were going to start writing. We were going to see what we came up with. Let's see where this goes. And so I guess we started that in the second week of March. And
this is during COVID, so this is we did everything remotely, and we're still doing
everything was remote.
A lot
right?
remote.
So we were using a program called BandLab.
Oh yeah.
And we were using that. Somebody would submit a part. Somebody else would say, "Hey, I like that part. Hey, I like this part." And we were kind of piecing together these songs, or trying to piece together these songs. I would say that I think what was happening is that we. I think there was a difference stylistically with where we wanted to go. I think there was like a level of, I don't know, guys, would you say like professionalism? There was just there was a level that was expected, or I think was expected. And it was just like, man, I don't think we can meet that level.
Yeah. I maybe it was too early to put any expectations on it. And there was already all these expectations.
Yeah, there was more expectations on. I know, and you guys could fill in if you want. I felt like there was more, this is Sacrament. This is our 30-year thing. Like, you know what I mean? There was so much instant pressure that like, this has to be like our swan song. This had and we were just like, it was just getting a little bit, to me, it was getting a little bit too intense for how much demand was being placed on what we were going to do. And
I think what happened was there was some really, really high expectations on everything that we did as far as the music. And
we never did get one song.
Yeah, I think what happened was, Nick, Paul, and I, we were in agreement with almost the whole time with everything that was going on. And I think that we also, we didn't want to kind of be, everything has to be exactly perfect, if you will. And we just kind of wanted to just do our, kind of just put some stuff out there and work on it together.
And I think the other thing we wanted to have fun.
We did. Yeah. Most definitely we did.
We wanted to have fun, and it just seemed like the more intense the pressure got, and the more level of expectation got to higher and higher and higher. It was just like I finally reached a point where I was like, we're never going to reach this. Like realistically, we are not going to reach this level. And at that point, we decided that we should, maybe we should think about doing something different.
Oh, okay.
And that's when we broke apart.
Also, I want to interject here. I mean, this, obviously we're in a different world now with COVID. And so I'll tell you, doing everything remotely, and not being able to get together in the same room and work on songs.
It sucks.
And keep in mind that
Yep.
Mike D, the lead guitarist, lives in Texas, by the way, and so that we can only do it with Mike D remotely anyway because he lives in Texas. Eric, the bass player, lives at least an hour from us. Now, conveniently, we all three of us, Mick, me, and Paul, we live pretty close by. But I just want to interject here and say that, I mean, we're not used to this process. I'm a very old school person. I'll say that right now, and I'm proud to be an old school metalhead, you know. But anyway, this whole process of trying to write remotely and trying to post things with everybody, it's like too many cooks in the kitchen, and we're all trying to, you know, work on top of each other and add stuff and change stuff and that kind of thing. So, I mean, I'm just talking generally. I'm not talking like that it was a problem, but I'll tell you, if for bands to work this way, just in general with COVID, whatever the band scenario is and whatever their process is, I can tell you that it's extremely difficult to work remotely versus, you know, back when we were kids, when we just got together in a room and just did our thing.
Yeah,
you know?
instantaneously you could bounce ideas off each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I mean, and we still have some challenges in that area, but it's not everything we're doing primarily is done remotely, you know, and it's a different world. I'm an old school guy, so I'm way below the curve versus Nick or Paul. Paul's even ahead of the curve than I am. So, but you know, but basically,
I'm old.
I
mean, it has challenges, but the most important thing I would want to say, and I'm going to give the ball back to Paul to explain the rest, is that I think all three of us, me, Paul, and Nick, we were always on the same page about almost everything, you know, and we saw a lot of appreciation and value in the stuff we were coming up with, and a lot of like camaraderie about it, and a lot of, this is really good, we like this, you know, versus, you know, this just sucks, or doesn't work.
5 forever, baby.
Yeah, Song 5 Forever, our first song, which ended up being Redemption, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah.
So, but for a while, then it became, you know, the thing was, it became, oh, well, that's not Sacrament, you know, and, you know, we quickly realized that, you know, for whatever reason, we're not going to tell all the, like, a lot of long-winded, crazy stories about what happened, but we just realized that, you know, it's probably best, you know, and actually through some prayer and some conversations, we realized it was best for all three of us to kind of do our own project, you know? So
yeah, and I guess we had the meeting in May, second week of May. So we did try for 2 months. We actually did try, and we were coming up with some stuff, but we never actually came up with one song.
Wow.
In that time frame. And I guess as soon as we decided that, you know what, guys, it's just, you know, there's just so many, you know, there's pressure to be Sacrament, and we got to be perfect, and we got to be this. And it was as soon as we decided at the second week of May that we were going to be, we felt it would be better if we became you know, you guys do your thing, we'll do our thing. We're still cool, everybody's friends. As soon as we made that decision, what was it, guys? By like the end of May, we already had, like, we were working on our third song.
Yeah,
that quick. I mean, it was like one after another after another.
See, maybe you guys didn't realize. Yeah, maybe you guys didn't realize it at the time, but, you know, you weren't meant to be Sacrament. You guys were meant to be a whole new band, and maybe that's what it was. And
absolutely.
And what it sounds like to me is the three of you guys are the core.
All I know is we click.
I wouldn't call us the core, but I would say that I think like 9 out of 10 times we're always on the same page about everything.
And see, and that's hard to find in a band where everybody's on the same page, creatively, musically, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
And
it might come down to like little things like, oh, I think you should put this part there. But as far as like the overall style and what each person is, their sound that they're bringing, I think every time we put something together, it's like, oh, I never would have thought of that, but that sounds great.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's and
And I
every
think
time.
it's important to bring up too that this is very important for us at this, especially at this stage, is that we're really serious about the message and committed about the message. And I mean, obviously, me and Paul were in a band 32 years ago, and Nick is quote the new guy. But Nick feels the same way that I mean, our message is exactly the same that it was back in 1990. I mean, that's what I want to probably stress the most. Um,
And it's very evident in your guys' new lyric video for Redemption. You guys included scripture in there, and it's even in the song itself, which I think is just amazing. I love when bands do that. Yeah, they're bold in their faith, and they're not afraid to share it. And I think any band that calls themselves a Christian band or a Christ-focused band should definitely do that. Get the word out any way possible. And you guys,
and I think I would pretty much when you guys agree, that pretty much sums up what we want to do.
Mhm.
That's it.
absolutely,
That
absolutely.
is that is our main goal. Our main goal is to get it out there. For some, reason that the Lord has reasons for why things are the way it is. He brought us together and he wants us to do this. And we're like, okay, Lord, like if you would have told me that I was doing this a year ago, like, hey man, in May of 2021, you're gonna form this band and you're gonna be like making lyric videos and you're gonna be recording and you're gonna be on a I would have said you're out of your mind. You are out of your mind, but here we are.
And there's this thing, I don't know if you know about it. It's called the internet. The internet, and like you know, a lot of people think that the internet, this internet thing, is of the devil, but we're taking the reverse effect, man. We're trying, we're using it, and if any with any chance that we can, just to get the message out there. And you know, obviously, I'm below the curve on all that stuff, and my internet presence is not probably, I'm gonna get there. It's gonna be more, but you know, it's like we're using, just like Paul said, and what you said, Dave. I mean, we're using every possible bag of every possible toy in our Felix the Cat bag of tricks. Dude, that's an old reference right there from the 80s. But
yeah, yeah.
but to get the message out there and to reach people and just to get really, I mean, we want people just to think about, you know, think about reading the Bible, think about God, think about this kind of situation and about having a dialogue with God and, thinking about God in their lives. And we're not trying to be judgmental. We're not trying to do
Totally
anything.
not.
We feel we want to have a very direct and bold message that doesn't hold back the message, not watered down. And we talk about the reality. I mean, obviously we're into thrash metal, death metal, that kind of thing. So when we first started the band and it moved into that area and that style of music, it's a very extreme, direct, and realistic approach to what we're saying in the lyrics, obviously. I mean, people could judge it and say, well, why are you talking so much about death? Why are you talking about, condemnation? And why are you talking about hell? Why, that kind of, and sin and, and the directness of what the harshnesses of life and, the things that are going on in life. But, we just kind of feel that it's important that we speak about that too.
Oh
But at
yeah,
the same
people
time,
need to know about that stuff, and outside of metal bands, I really don't see too many people doing stuff like that, honestly, because the kind of stuff that you hear on K-Love, happy, happy, joy, joy, I mean, Jesus loves you and all that. That's great. That is great.
True. It's
And
true.
but
it
how?
is true.
But
Jesus does love you.
yeah, it's true. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, that stuff is great. you know, and praise and worship. I love praise and worship music. There's nothing wrong with it. But at the same time, it's like people need to know, they need to know that it's so much more. They need to realize that we do live in a very dark world and a very sinful world. And they need to realize, you know, the destruction that sin does and how to overcome that through faith in Christ. And you know, outside, like I said, outside of metal bands, I really don't see too many, you know, Christian artists or anything like that doing that. And but I'd like to bring up your lyric video for Redemption, and I'll be playing the lyric video to coincide with the interview here on the show.
Return.
Can you guys break down the meaning of that? The message in that song itself.
Absolutely. It's very direct. It's pretty much the name of the song. I mean, it's about redemption. The song talks about the harshness and the reality of life. Talks about people
Blood.
dealing with a lot of issues, the way the world is now, hate, bitterness, which is all in the lyrics. A lot of negative stuff, and it's just providing a solution through Jesus Christ, and talking about how in this life you can have relief from all that stuff. And then very important is we obviously we talk a lot about life and death, about the afterlife, so we just talk about.
And like we talked about over the weekend, it's the blood.
Absolutely it is.
Right. You can't miss it. Nick, share with Dave what for the friend share with you.
Yeah. When the chorus comes in and the first word is blood, it strikes really boldly on the screen, and then the blood starts coming down. I guess almost like through the glass, it looks like. And a friend of mine who is a Christian, who grew up Catholic, and watched it and said, I never really understood heavy metal Christian music until I watched that video. She's like, I never realized that God can be angry also. And I was like, yeah, like this, it's not all rainbows and flowers and dancing in the field.
Oh, yes.
Life and things come across, and how you handle them. And we have to, like you said earlier, sin. I mean, not everything is happy. So life is not all happy, but we have to know how to.
Rainbows, Skittles, and unicorns, right?
Exactly. So I was like, I know we got across to one person already, so that's good. And she was like, wow, I never thought of it that way. And I said, yeah, it's just.
A lot of people were impacted by the lyric video. We had never done one before. I mean, Sacrament never did a lyric video before, and Nick said, I think we should do a lyric video. And we're like, okay. Again, this is all new territory. So we're like, okay, lyric video. How do we do that?
Yeah. And
we get somebody to, give them the images and what we're talking about. But that's something new for us, at least for us. We had never done. That's our very first one we've ever done. And I watched it.
The internet, and you can actually make a video and put something on the internet.
Right, Mike.
Yeah, yep. And I'll be playing the lyric video to coincide with the interview here on the show.
Awesome.
And you guys have been busy writing and obviously in recording, and you guys, you're going to be putting out an album sometime this next year. Do you have a? I saw like what to me looked like an album cover with the people on the horses and that kind of apocalyptic looking. Well, the name. So, do you guys have like a ETA on when the album's going to come out? Do you have an album title?
There's a few versions of that artwork. I think most people have only seen one, but we're still kind of. It's going to be that idea, but we have a few different versions that just haven't all been shared yet. I guess Paul, right, or Mike?
Yeah, I would say It's gonna the next one that we do have is probably going to get maybe this week. I'm hopeful this week. The guy that does our shirts was working on it last night.
Oh,
so
right.
He's working on it last night. That means it's coming out in the next couple of days.
Yeah,
can't wait to see it.
Album title, I'm not sure, Mike. Paul, we're not really sure what that's going to be. I don't think.
And the title.
100% sure. So
we're not sure if we're going with a title, right?
Yeah, we don't have a title yet.
Okay.
We may not.
Are hoping to put the album out in the spring. That's the plan, at least.
Okay.
So, well, obviously, we're also putting out individual songs also, which will also be on the album.
Very cool.
I think Nick said May 10th. May 10th, right, Nick?
I like dates. We'll go with that. Yeah.
There you go.
Nick holds us to our deadline, so he's shooting for May 10th, 2022.
Hey, it can happen. It can happen. Got plenty of time. How many songs do you guys have so far? Completed.
Well, I think we have 3 completed. A fifth one that's almost all the way there, and
What happened to the fourth?
Yeah, where'd that go?
Skip the song, Mike.
that.
You skipped the song. What happened to number 4?
Oh, well, yeah, the fourth one we're still. It's almost kind of. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. It's 4 songs. Wow.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I just happened to notice she said, "Well, we got 3 songs, and then the fifth one." I'm like, "What? What? What about the fourth?"
But 9 or 10 in the works.
There you go.
Yeah.
So after the album comes out next year, do you guys have any kind of plans on you guys somehow getting together to maybe do, maybe a one-off show or a couple of gigs, anything like that? Maybe get on some of those festivals next year?
We don't have any immediate plans to play live,
Okay.
but we have. There's some opportunities out there, and
You wouldn't be opposed to it.
Yeah, we're right now.
I think it
we're
would
talking
have to
about
be. It would really. There would be a lot of moving parts to that,
Okay.
and our jobs, schedules, all that involved. To be honest with you, Dave, we've never played together yet once.
Oh, well, yeah,
In the room.
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
We have
haven't.
not played together once in a room yet. So
We'll be able to. It won't be a problem, but
yeah,
we
we
haven't.
will. But like as of now, like everything that you're hearing now is us remotely. Everything that we've
sounds
put out
great,
so
man.
far has been done
It sounds
remotely. So
it sounds great. It sounds amazing. I mean, I love your voice, Mike. I love the work you guys are all doing. Sincerely, man. And when I first heard of you guys, and that this was like the reincarnation, I guess you could say, of Sacrament, I was like, sweet. I was like, awesome. Cause yeah, I mean, dude, I came into the whole Christian metal thing kind of late. I didn't really get into Christian metal until around 2005. And there's still so many bands out there I've never heard of that I'm finding out about, new and old bands. So I love when I get to, find something new, or at least it's new to me. So when I first heard Sacrament music, I was like, oh, dude, this is, because I love thrash metal. It's my number one, and
so do we.
yeah. And it's weird too, man, because like I really don't even listen to any secular music anymore. Sometimes I'll listen to like some 80s music once in a great long while, but one secular band that I have to get my fix every once in a while is Metallica. I gotta have my Metallica every once in a while, and it's always the old stuff. I don't really. Everything after the Black Album for me was just kind of
You sound like us.
I say everything after Justice for All is what I say.
Well, yeah, okay,
That's just.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
We grew
Everything
up on early stuff.
I'm sorry. Everything from Justice for All back. My mistake. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. So going off of that, let me ask you guys one more question here. Who are your influences? Like, who did you guys grow up listening to, and what got you to say, hey, I want to play an instrument, I want to be in a band, all that good stuff?
I would say my influences were probably Metallica, Anthrax, Testament, Forbidden, Destruction. I mean, I could keep naming them. There was quite a few, but I guess the thing was, though, is that that is what got me into heavy metal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then actually I got into heavy metal first, then went into the thrash. Like it was getting progressively heavier.
Oh
as I
yeah.
went along. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
started out with like Quiet Riot, and, you know what I mean?
I started out with
That was
Def Leppard.
okay, right.
Yeah.
But that was metal. That was the new stuff. And as I got more into metal, it got heavier and heavier.
Absolutely.
I think the turning point for me was, I guess I became a Christian. I was a musician playing not Christian music. Um, I would say Striper had a big influence on me. I was just like, you know what? I can remember saying, I don't care what they're singing about. These guys are awesome.
Hmm.
They're great musicians. Like they just are. And then I guess a little bit after that, then I actually received Christ myself and was like, I want to play my music for God. That's what I said. I was just like, that's it. I don't want to play my music for anybody other than God. That's it. This
Hmm.
is who I'm playing it for. And that's when I decided I'm going to form I want to do something like Metallica, but Christian.
Yeah.
And that's when then I got a hold of, met Eric Nye, and he was friends with Mike. And then we met Brian Toy, and then I had known Mike D from way back, and that's how we formed Sacrament, and that's how that's what we were doing. But all those other influences kind of were helpful in a way because they made it so that, you know, if you're going out there and you're going to be a Christian band, you better play as well as the other guys, as the secular guys, or better, in my opinion, because guess what? You're going to get judged even harsher, because if you're going to go out there and you're going to be singing about God's love and his forgiveness and stuff, you better be spot on with the music.
Oh, yeah.
And we were, when we remember, Mike, when we played that Battle of the Bands, the crowd, I think there was 300 people there. They loved us. They were just like flipping out. They were moshing, and they were slam dancing, and they were stage diving, and they were doing everything right up until the point when we said, yeah, tonight we just want to let you know that we're here to represent God and that we're delivering his message of salvation and hope. And it was just like, like they wanted to just
Oh.
they wanted to kill us, which was like kind of what Jesus says. They're going to hate you because of me. We felt that firsthand. We know what that feels like.
Yeah.
And we received the blessings because of that, I guess you
Yeah.
could say, right?
Yep.
So it's interesting. I was before I became a Christian, and I became a Christian the same week as Paul, the same exact week.
Oh wow.
I was in a secular band with Paul separately. I was in a secular band when we were younger. I was younger with Eric, So, I mean, and we always knew about Mike D. We always knew that he was a really good guitarist in the area. And we were always like, we got to get this guy in our band, And when we met Brian Toy, the rhythm guitarist, I mean, we met him and we heard his playing, and we were like, we got to talk to this guy and see if he has an interest in being in a Christian band. And then, God moved through us. God did his thing, and he ended up becoming a Christian, and he still is, really into it. He's still into Christianity and still a Christian. It's interesting how, some people that were, quote, a Christian, when they were younger, like, what are they doing now? Are they still have the same beliefs, So it's interesting how things change over time, but
Oh yeah.
basically,
So, Mike, who are your influences?
I would say I'm kind of in the same boat as Paul, and we'll definitely want to get Nick's perspective too. But so what happened was we just kept listening to more aggressive and heavier and faster and more technical playing, and it just went from when we were kids listening to like the first secular heavy metal song I ever sung was Round and Round by Rat. It started at Round by Round by Rat when I was 16 years old, 15 years old. And it got all the way up to, bands like Testament. We heard of this band called Testament. And I think that was probably our biggest influence at the time as
Yeah.
far as these guys really have it together. You know, they have technical playing, you know, they have a really good sound. And obviously, my biggest influence was definitely Chuck Billy from Testament. Now, the interesting thing is when I listen to my voice now on the album in 1990, it doesn't really sound that much like Chuck, but I thought it did. And, I was very influenced, by Chuck, you know. So, but I was 22 years old, the tonality of my voice was completely different than it is now. Obviously, I have a much lower tonality in my voice, but I guess what happened was, we just, we, like Paul was saying, our music got more complicated. It got faster. It got definitely more technical, and it just went from there. And at the time when we, were lucky enough to, get signed and put an album out. I mean, we had stuff down. We really knew what we were doing. And I think the most important thing I can say, I don't want to be super long-winded because I'm super long-winded, is that we practiced like 4 days a week, sometimes 5 days a week. We would spend the entire weekend. We were fortunate. We had Eric. We practiced at Eric Nye, the bass player's house. His parents let us, welcomed us into the house and let us. So we would play from the whole weekend. We'd spend the whole weekend there and just work on music and pray and play. So, and obviously we're not full-time musicians now. And these people that are full-time musicians do it as a career and have millions of dollars. I mean, that's amazing. But we do everything. We have lives. We have families. We have children. We have all our lives. This is just something that we're doing part-time. We wish we could do it as a career, but.
Yeah. Well, you're doing it to give God glory. Absolutely, man. And that's first and foremost. And that's what's most important, really. Nick, how about your influences, dude?
Yeah. Well, definitely I like Metallica and Testament as well. But it really started more with like the Soundgarden, Alice in Chains movement for me, because I guess that was my, when I was in 4th, 5th grade, that's what was really playing. And then I found Metallica, and then I found Slayer and Testament, and then I heard Pantera, and that shifted a lot for me. That like American metal, Southern metal feel, all the bands that came with them, like Crowbar and Corrosion of Conformity, and some of that real sludgy, doom, groovy stuff. And then, but then actually, I like the technical stuff just as well. Like I was telling Paul earlier today, when he showed me Extol in 2000, I was like, whoa, these guys are awesome. And I already liked a lot of like European sounding metal, like In Flames and At the Gates and The Haunted and those types of bands. So I mean, put it all together. I guess that's my playing style. I don't really like to think I sound like anybody or that we sound like anybody, but mainly more on the groove metal, but I do like the technical speed thrash as well. So
very cool. Very, very cool. Now, last but not least, where can people connect with you guys and where can they get merch? I know you guys have t-shirts, you got merch. So give us the details on all that.
Mike needs smoke signal if you want to get a hold of Mike.
Yeah.
You have to call me a rotary phone. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have a rotary phone.
Yeah. The merchandise,
touch tone.
There's a couple places you can get merchandise. One is one of the bigger ones that we have right now that we partnered with was christianbandshirts.com. It's like christianbandshirts.com /testimony-of-apocalypse.
Or you go to christianbandshirts.com.
Look us up by name.
Go by name and go down and find them that way.
And then also there should be some stuff that's going to be that'll be available through Karen Collective also in the future. So but right now that's where you would get like the t-shirts, mugs, you name it, it's all there.
And Testimony.
There's Sacrament.
Oh,
There's
I'm sorry. Go
Sacrament
ahead.
merchandise also. There's
Yes.
definitely Sacrament merchandise also.
Yes, there is. Absolutely.
And then
Love it.
also, Nick, can you explain? I guess you can tell them like the explain the streaming.
Yeah, I mean, we're on all the major streaming sites. We have 2 songs up now, Redemption and Truth versus Lies. And I think too, I know that Eric Shirey from the Karen Collective has also been getting us on some other stations, other radio play, other channels. So I have to give him a shout out for that. But yeah, I mean, the streaming's been going great. I can't believe, people look for Testimony of Apocalypse, and I didn't even think of this at the time, but they're finding us, and they're finding Sacrament, or they're finding Sacrament, and they're finding us. So, I mean,
win-win.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Guys, thanks so much for being here and being on the show, and I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And guys, make sure that you check out Testimony of Apocalypse. They got some videos and music up on YouTube. Their lyric video for Redemption is up on there. And give these guys some love. Check them out on Facebook. Give them a like. Follow them. All that good, happy stuff. And guys, again, I appreciate you being here and being on the show. And God bless you, man.
God bless you too.
God bless you. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
It was fun.